Hello, this is Julius from Basic Financials. This video is going to be about your Form P45. Now, unfortunately, sometimes this means you might have lost your job. You might have left your job of your own accord, or you might have lost it because you've been sacked. Oh no. But either way, you get a P45 when you leave somebody's employment. So, P45, it's a multi-part form, so it's a 4-part form, and the first part is for you to keep, and the other 3 parts are for you to pass to a new employer once you have started another job. Now, we'll come back to that, but that's very important, so don't just file it away somewhere. Do file it away your part 1, because that tells you the information you might need for your tax return if, for example, you don't get another job before the end of the tax year. When you get a P45 from an employer, they won't give you a P60 at the end of the year. The P60, if you've seen any of my other videos, P60 is what you get from your employer at the end of the tax year to show you a summary of your income, your gross pay, your tax deducted, and it also shows the national insurance contributions on there. But if you're not with that employer at the end of the year, even though they've paid you for that year, they won't give you a P60, because all they're going to give you is that P45. And that P45 will show on it the employer reference, the employer address, your reference and your address. It will show the date of leaving, and it will show your gross pay up to that point of leaving and your tax deducted up to that point of leaving. Now, this P45 could be very important. Say, for example, you leave halfway through the year, and you don't get another job for 6 months, and that coincides, say you leave in round about September and you haven't got another job by the 5th of April. Now, you will have only received 6 months worth of your allowances, because the tax system works on a cumulative basis. Your personal allowance, which at the moment is £12,500, you would only have received half of that, so £6,250. Now, that means that if you haven't had any other income during the year, and you would be entitled to another £6,250 personal allowance, rest of your allowance for the whole year. So you would be entitled to a refund, and you would use that P45 to send to the tax office as evidence of what your income is, the tax that's been deducted, and that would get you a refund. So that's one reason to keep hold of your P45. Now, the other reason is, as I said before, if you do start a new employment, you should give parts 2, 3 and 4 to your new employer, and that will allow them to plug those figures of gross pay to date and tax deducted to date into their payroll system, and that will ensure that the pay will continue to work on a cumulative basis, so that what their system will look at is what your gross pay from their employment plus your previous employment is, what your tax up to date should be, what it was to date, and then if necessary it'll give you a refund within your pay. So, for example, say you had 1 or 2 months where you didn't have a job, you would have missed 1 or 2 months worth of allowances, personal allowances, but because you've given your new employer the information from that P45, that will give them the amount that they need for their payroll system to work out your refund during the year. So you then shouldn't need to go and claim a refund from the tax office at the end of the year. In those circumstances where you've given your new employer a P45, your P60, that end of year pay summary, will show the figures from previous employment, so the P45, and it will show the figure for this employment, the new employer, which will give a total for the year. So your total P60 will be pay for that employment plus the previous employment as per the P45. Well, the other reason for giving your new employer P45 is so that they can then give you the correct tax code, because that P45 will also show the tax code that was being used. It will say whether you've had any student loan deductions, whether that needs to continue. So there's a whole bunch of information on that P45, which is very useful for the new employer, and will ensure that you get the correct tax code going forward, or at least correct as it was, if assuming that it was correct in the first place. But they'll continue to use that tax code, and they won't need to use emergency codes and things which might end up giving you the wrong amount of wrong amount of tax paid at the end of the year. I think that's probably it. So I hope that helps a bit with your explaining your P45. And if you have got one and you want to get a new job, good luck with finding a new job. If you don't, well, enjoy your retirement or whatever it is you've decided to do. Like and subscribe. If you've got any comments, just leave them in the space below. Any questions as well, and I'll see you again soon.